Welcome to tonight's story. You're listening to Minute 60, where every tale drags you deeper into the dark. Imagine this: a hospital, once full of life. Doctors rushing through bright hallways, patients waiting, machines beeping. But that was years ago. Now, the doors are chained shut. The paint peels from the walls. The lights are gone. And the only sound that remains is the echo of footsteps that shouldn't exist. They say abandoned hospitals are never truly empty. That every bed, every room, still holds the weight of those who never left. Some in pain, some in silence, some waiting. Tonight, on Minute 60, you'll step inside those halls, and once the doors close behind you, there is no way out. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and let's walk together into the abandoned hospital. It always starts with a dare. Go inside, just for a minute. That's what they told me. That's what made me push the rusted gates of the old hospital and step into its shadow. Everyone in town knows the stories. They whisper about the patients who never left, about the power outage, and the night the halls went silent forever. No one goes near this place. Not the kids. Not the police. Not even the people who used to work here. But I had to prove I wasn't afraid. The air outside the hospital was heavy, almost thick. The smell of rust, mold, and something else. Something metallic, sharp. The windows were broken, glass like jagged teeth. The front doors hung loose on their hinges. I told myself it was just a building. Just bricks, concrete, old rooms. But the second I stepped across the threshold, I felt it. The weight, the silence, like the air itself was holding its breath. My flashlight flickered once, and in that half-second of darkness, I thought I saw someone standing at the end of the hall. But when the light came back, there was nothing. Still, I swear I heard a voice, soft, barely more than a whisper. Don't go. The doors creaked as they closed behind me. I hadn't touched them, but they swung shut, slow, steady. And then the lock clicked. I froze, turned, pulled at the handle. Nothing. I was inside now, and the hospital had decided I wasn't leaving. The entrance lobby was wide, but empty. A shattered reception desk sat in the corner, covered in dust. A wheelchair leaned against the wall, its wheels twisted like broken bones. Old posters still clung to the peeling paint. Wash your hands. Stay safe. We care. But the words were faded, half-eaten by mold. I lifted my flashlight. The beam cut across the floor. Tiles cracked and blackened. Footprints in the dust, not mine. The sound hit me next, dripping somewhere in the distance. Water, blood. The sound echoed down the hallways, stretching too far, too deep. Then came the smell, rot, thick, sweet, clinging to the back of my throat. The smell of something left too long in the dark. I tried to tell myself it was just pipes, just mold, just a building collapsing in on itself. But the deeper I breathed, the stronger it got. Like the hospital wanted me to taste its history, its sickness. A sudden crash echoed down the left corridor, sharp, metallic, like a tray hitting the floor. I swung my flashlight toward the sound. The beam cut across the hall, dust, shadows, empty space. Then a flicker, a figure in white, standing still. I blinked, and it was gone. The dripping stopped. The silence pressed in. And for the first time, I realized the hospital wasn't empty. It was waiting. The hall stretched out in both directions, left, right, each lined with doors that hadn't been opened in years. My flashlight shook in my hand. I told myself it was just the cold. But I knew better. The silence wasn't natural. This was thicker, heavier, like the walls themselves were listening. I picked the right corridor. The tiles here were broken, uneven. Every step echoed, too loud, too sharp. Like the sound didn't belong to me. The doors on either side were numbered. 102, 104.106. Each one closed tight. Some with rusted locks. Others with scratch marks across the wood. Long, deep, desperate. Halfway down the hall, I stopped. There was writing on the wall. Faded red, dripping into the cracks. At first, I thought it was paint, but the smell told me otherwise. The words were simple. Help me. I reached out without thinking, brushing my fingers across the dried letters. Cold, sticky, still fresh. A noise cut through the air. Not the dripping this time. Not the silence. Footsteps, slow, dragging from behind me. I spun, flashlight trembling. The hall was empty. But the footsteps didn't stop. They grew louder, closer, moving toward me. Even though nothing was there, I backed up, step after step, until my shoulders hit a door. Room 112. The handle turned beneath my hand. Unlocked. The footsteps stopped. The silence rushed back in. And before I could stop myself, I pushed the door open. The door groaned as it opened. The smell hit me first. Thick, sour, like rust and rot soaked into the walls. My flashlight swept the room. Metal bed frames lined the walls, their mattresses torn open, stuffing, spilling like entrails. Old restraints dangled from the sides. Leather cracked, but still buckled. Wheelchairs sat overturned in the corner, and 4 pole leaned against the wall, the bag still hanging, filled with something black and clotted. The air was colder here, sharp, biting, as if the room itself rejected me. I took 1 step inside. The floor creaked beneath me, and then a sound, a breath, not mine, low, slow, coming from one of the beds. I froze, light sweeping across the frames, empty. Then it caught on the last bed, a shape, covered in a sheet. I thought it was just debris, but the sheet rose, fell, rose again, breathing. I wanted to run. Every instinct screamed at me to leave, but my body wouldn't move. I was pinned in place by the sound. The sheet shifted. Something underneath moved. Arms, legs, a body. I stepped closer, slow, careful. The sheet twitched, and then it sat up. The fabric slipped, just enough for me to see there. Not a face, not eyes, just a void, black, empty, pulling the light into it. And then it spoke. "You shouldn't be here." The voice was hollow, distant, like it came from every wall, every corner, every shadow at once. My flashlight flickered. The beds rattled. The restraints snapped against metal. And then the sheet fell flat, empty again. The silence rushed back in. But I knew I wasn't alone anymore. The hospital knew I was here, and it didn't want me to leave. I left the ward behind, but I knew it was following me. Not the thing under the sheet, the hospital itself. Every step echoed too loud. Every shadow stretched too long. The air grew colder, heavier, pressing against my chest. I reached a stairwell at the end of the hall. The door was already open. Rust streaked down its frame like dried blood. The stairs led down into blackness. I didn't want to go. Every part of me screamed no, but something pulled at me. An unseen hand, guiding me, forcing me. Step by step, I descended. The deeper I went, the worse it got. The smell of rot thickened. The walls closed in, and then came the buzzing. At first, faint, like flies. Then louder, electric, alive. My flashlight flickered, dimmed, almost died. But just enough light spilled across the floor to show me the sign at the bottom of the stairs. Morgue. The door creaked as I pushed it open. The smell hit me like a wave. Sweet, rotten, wet. It clawed down my throat and filled my lungs. Inside were rows of metal drawers, some closed, some slightly open, each one big enough for a body. The buzzing grew louder. I lifted my light toward the ceiling. Bare bulbs swung on frayed wires, glowing weak and sickly. They weren't the source. The sound was coming from the drawers. From inside them, I stepped closer. One drawer shook. Another rattled. A third slid open with a scream of metal on metal. The buzzing turned into a hum, low, steady, almost human. I shined the light inside, empty. Then another drawer opened, and another, until the room was filled with the sound of sliding metal, one after another, until every drawer was open, all of them empty. But the humming didn't stop. It grew louder, closer than I saw it. A figure at the far end of the room, tall, thin, draped in what looked like a hospital gown, its head tilted, its mouth wide open, the hum pouring out like a machine. The light caught its eyes, black, hollow, endless. It raised one hand, and every drawer slammed shut at once. The sound was deafening. The light went out, and the hum was right behind me. Darkness, that's all there was. No light, no sound. Just the weight of the hospital pressing in on me. I don't know how long I stood there. Minutes, hours, time doesn't matter in places like this. When the lights finally flickered back, I wasn't in the morgue anymore. I was in the hall again, but it was different. The walls pulsed, the ceiling dripped, the floor was slick, wet, almost alive, and the doors were all open now. Every room whispered, every bed shifted, every shadow moved. I stumbled forward, my flashlight long since dead, guided only by the sound. Not the hum this time. Voices, dozens of them, crying, laughing, begging. They came from every direction, from inside the walls, from beneath the floor, from the air itself. I tried to run, but the halls bent, twisted. Every turn brought me back to the same place, the lobby. Only it wasn't the same. The wheelchair was upright now. The reception desk clean. The posters new. The lights bright. The hospital wasn't abandoned anymore. Nurses rushed past me. Doctors shouted orders. Patients moaned in their beds. But none of them looked at me. None of them saw me. I screamed. I begged. But my voice was swallowed by the noise. Then I noticed something. Every face was wrong. Their eyes black hollows. Their mouth sopen, frozen in silent screams. And then I saw myself lying on a stretcher, pale, still, eyes closed. The figure in the gown stood over me. Its hollow gaze locked on mine. It leaned close, whispered one word. Stay. The stretcher rolled away. The doors swung shut, and the hospital went silent again. I tried to leave. I tried every door, every hall, every stairwell. But it all led back here, back to the lobby, back to the place I first stepped inside. I understand now. No one leaves this hospital. Not really. The moment you enter, it already owns you. And now, I am part of it. If you ever feel the pull to explore, if you ever push open the rusted gates, listen carefully, because you'll hear me in the walls, in the halls, in the silence, waiting for you. And that is where our story ends. The hospital keeps its secrets, and sometimes it keeps the people who wander too far inside. Thank you for spending this hour with me here on Minute 60, where every tale takes you deeper into the shadows. If you enjoyed tonight's story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support keeps the fire burning and the stories alive. I'll see you again soon for another journey into the dark. Until then, sleep well if you can.